Brilliant. So welcome everybody to our session this afternoon on the 24th of July. If you're watching it back, because you're away right now, this is a topical theme. We're talking about flying high. And for this session of Enrichment Week, I'm really thrilled to be joined by Pete Cave, who's going to share some of his career experiences from being an apprentice to working in a senior position at Luton Airport. If you haven't joined one of our enrichment talks before, I'm Jenny Pelling. I'm the Director of Apprenticeship Development and Diversity at Kaplan, and I have the pleasure of looking after our apprentices' personal development overall. So thanks for taking part today. We're quite informal in the way that we hold these. They're conversations and give us career insights into different roles. So it's not really a formal presentation, it's here for a conversation. I'll start off by asking Pete some questions, but if there's something that you would like to know, please feel free to put that in the chat or in the Q&A, and we'll come on to those. So, Pete, these are kind of career insight talks. So rather than me introducing what you do, could you just give me a sort of a précis of your career to date?
Yeah, well, firstly, thanks for inviting me along. Yeah, it's great to be here and talking to you all. And yeah, just to echo what Jenny said, yeah, if you do have any questions about my journey, what I do, what the airport's like, or anything, please put it in the chat, and we can try and answer it as we go through. So yeah, my name is Pete Cave. I'm the Group Financial Controller at London Luton Airport. Been here for, well, be coming up to a year soon, actually. Time really does fly. But I started off my accountancy career many years ago. I started off doing my AAT qualification, and I did that in practice. So I was an auditor with Baker Tilly, which is now RSM. I did my AAT, completed that in 2009, and then did my ACA, which I completed a few years after that. After my audit time, I did a bit of consultancy, so did a bit of business process improvement. We'd go into companies, try and improve the way that they did their financial processes, HR processes, whatever it may be. We also did a bit of internal audit work. We did a bit of risk analysis. It was quite fun. It was a national role all over the country. One day we'd be in Manchester, Glasgow, you name it, Birmingham. Yeah, it's good fun. So did that for a couple of years, and then had an opportunity to go and work for our international network, Baker Tilly International, doing quality assurance. So I basically got to travel around all of our member firms all over the world and making sure that they were compliant with auditing standards, as well as the kind of the softer stuff like the branding, the marketing, their strategy, make sure everything was in line with the corporate plan. So great role. Got to see some really interesting places, meet some really interesting people. And yeah, had a great time. Made some good friends. We talked about having a network, and that is certainly a good one to boost your network. We did that for a couple of years. Why a couple of years? I think a job like that does have a little bit of a shelf life on it. I was away for probably 2 weeks out of every 5, so that's quite a lot of time out of the country. And you reach a stage where you want to settle down a bit and spend less time in different countries. So I got a job in industry. I worked for a manufacturing company in Milton Keynes as a group reporting accountant. Did that for about a year before joining a tech company as a finance analyst. And then yeah, that was an interesting role. We were private equity owned. It was a buy and build strategy, so we got to acquire lots of different companies. I became financial controller there, and yeah, it was a great journey. We acquired lots of businesses, integrated them into one unit, prepared for sale, and we sold out to a trade buyer probably 3-4 years ago, which was great achievement right in COVID times, which was interesting. Usually you do these kind of things all in a room together. We were doing this over Teams. So you imagine these massive Teams calls, lots of advisors, lawyers, everyone, which was a challenge, but we did it. We achieved what we set out to. So that was job done in that front. So I was looking for a new challenge, and you speak to recruiters, and you once again part of your network, and one of them phoned me up and said, look, I've got a job that is right up your street. He knew that I'm always had a bit of a sort of passion for the travel sector and in aviation. He said, look, perfect job. Luton Airport are looking for a group financial controller. And he said, if you don't get this job, then I don't know you at all. And the rest is history, as they say. So, yeah.
That is brilliant. We often talk at Kaplan about the concept of a squiggly career, in that there's not necessarily always a very clear-cut ladder of opportunity, that there are different routes that our careers can take. And you have just exemplified that, of all the different areas that you've worked in to get to this position today. So I hope that gives everybody, real kind of confidence and comfort on the call, that you don't have to think of it as a natural career step ladder.
Absolutely. And all of these roles have given me different skill sets. You're always learning new things throughout your career. Your career is a journey, and you're always picking up new skills, meeting new people, having new experiences, and they all basically add to who you are as a person. So all of these different roles have given me the skills and the experience to be where I am now. So don't feel that you have to go on a set path. It doesn't matter where you go, because you will get experience from whatever role it is.
I'm sure people are going to have questions about aspects of that journey you've described, but can I focus in on the last year? 1 year into your role at Luton Airport. I know it's so hard to describe a typical day, but I'm going to ask you to try. Can you bring to life what it's like in your job on an average day, if that exists?
No, I've yet to have an average day, which is quite something. I mean, it's a great place to work, and the opportunities at the airport are almost endless. So last week, actually, I was with our guest experience guys, going around the airport, helping passengers, directing, making sure people sort of go in the right place to get on their flight, making sure that things like the toilets were all suitably cleaned and everything. The other week I was on security, stacking all the trays up, and helping our colleagues out in security. So it can be as varied as you want. You go down the fire station, you can see the fire engines, have a little ride around. It's so varied, I guess. Day to day, it's making sure that my team are okay, that they've got what they need to do their roles, making sure that we're all aligned, we're sort of heading towards achieving our objectives as a team and as a business. So there is a lot about the team. I've got about 10 people in my team, so it's a fairly small team, but we always have a lot to do. There's always lots of projects going on. So I've kind of skirted around that a bit, but because there is generally not a typical day. Our team within finance, we do a lot of the transactional side. We do billing, we do accounts payable, credit control. We also do statutory reporting, monthly reporting. We deal with all the banks, the loans. So there's a lot of day-to-day work, queries, etc., that we have to deal with. But half the fun is just getting out to the business and just seeing what's going on, making sure that we as finance are giving these guys what they need to do their jobs.
That is fascinating. So you're kind of walking the floor to really understand the business better, and then and then that helps you provide richer advice, does it?
Yeah,
Or
absolutely. I'm a firm believer, and this is any role that I've had. The numbers don't mean anything unless you actually know what you're doing. So by going out in the terminal, yeah, I can see exactly what is going on, with our CapEx program. I can hear from people firsthand what they need. So it could be a minor thing like, oh, we're not getting new uniforms quick enough, or I wish we had a little bit more training over here. And by hearing that, you can actually make a difference, and you kind of understand the numbers a bit more by actually seeing what's going on in action. So when you come to a month end or a half year, then you say, right, I know why that's happening, because I was there, I was speaking to that guy, and it all makes sense. So I'm a firm believer in getting out from behind a desk and actually going out in the wider business and seeing what's going on.
yeah, now is that your kind of personality, your style, Pete, or is that the culture of where you work?
It's a bit of both. I like talking to people. Uh, I like understanding things. So I mean, this will sound very sad, but understanding how like airport fire engine works, that's really interesting. So I've got that desire to do that. But the business does encourage it. They encourage people to work with different departments. We've got some great training programs where they can put people together from different areas of the airport, because everyone has different skills. So I'm on a leadership program at the moment at the airport. We've got people from flight operations, HR, technical services, you name it, all across the airport, all coming together, because how we handle a situation in finance could be very different to how someone in technical services does it. And you shouldn't discount other people's ideas, because they've got some great ideas. So it's really good. It's really interesting.
Fantastic. And lots of people are kind of asking a question about how you find the transition from starting out at, in audit, starting at Baker Tilly, and now where you are in industry. So talk to us about that transition and how you adjust.
Yeah, it's interesting. So I mean, there's some great benefits, pros and cons. I think for me, I struggled to know exactly what I wanted to do coming out of practice and going into industry. You hear lots of job roles, group financial accountants, business partners, analysts, and you think, well, what do they actually mean? What is this job? So for me, it was finding an actual company that you're interested in and interested in what they're doing. The first company that I joined out of practice, it wasn't necessarily a mistake, but the company, what they did just didn't excite me. It didn't interest me. And I just ended up churning through spreadsheets, and it just wasn't that exciting. Whereas moved on to a different company that I did actually have an interest in, and I was there for the next 6-7 years. So I think that is important, finding an area that you are interested in, so you can have a little bit of passion about what you're doing. And of course, the obvious benefit being you don't have to do timesheets anymore. It is great not having to account for every 6 minutes of my time as it was back then. So it's a really good one. But I would say, if anyone is thinking about moving, find an industry that you've got a little bit of an interest in, because it can make all the difference.
Good advice. I mean, thinking back to my past, I spent some time working in a large petrochemicals business in outside Brussels, and initially I thought, well, that doesn't actually appeal to me. But then when I found out what you do with those things, you make paint, make perfume, make wonder bras with polyurethane, all these things that you just didn't know. So there is so much to learn, isn't there, about any business that you go into, about its potential. So finding something that interests you or that you're curious about, I think is really good advice.
Absolutely. I mean, curiosity is great, and it is something I really encourage in my team. Just ask questions.
Yeah.
If you want to know something, let's go and find out.
Yeah.
Whether it's financial, non-financial, I don't mind. I think curiosity is great, and it should be encouraged. People shouldn't be sitting there kind of behind a desk every day just tapping away at a keyboard, because where's the excitement in that?
Yeah. I've got loads of questions that have come in, so I'm going to come on to those. I just want to be, what we like with Kaplan is a dose of realism. So and you're ebullient and enthusiastic, and that's actually rubbing off on all of us, and I think we all want to now come and work at Luton Airport, so good recruiting. But
I've got a couple of vacancies, so if anyone is looking for more of an entry level role,
how do they find those vacancies, Pete? Are they on the Luton Airport?
They'll be on the website. They were on LinkedIn, but we pulled them. But right. I'm fairly easy to find on LinkedIn myself. So if anyone wants to drop me a message, happy to have a chat. I think I look a little bit younger on my LinkedIn photos, so don't take that as led, but it is me, I promise.
So on LinkedIn, that's great, and Luton have people who've been asking, have a look at Luton Airport's website. But for our dose of realism, are there down days? What are the challenges, and how do you address those?
Yeah, I mean, in every job, you're going to have days that aren't so good. Where we're at the moment, the airport is undergoing a lot of change. There's a lot of work going on, both sort of externally in the actual airport, but also internally. So, for example, we are completely reviewing our internal controls framework. We're going to be putting in a new finance system. So sometimes the work can get quite intense. You've got a lot of deadlines to meet. And sometimes you think, wow, there's a lot going on. What do you do about it? Just talk. If I've got a lot on my plate, I'll have a chat with my boss. I'll have a chat with the team. See what the workload's like in sort of other departments as well, because we've got a couple of finance teams. So we just try and help each other out, and it doesn't matter sort of what level you are. Anyone can help out, and we actively kind of encourage that. So I think it's very important to open up and don't feel like the weight of the world's on your shoulders and you can't tell anyone. It's not a sign of weakness to say that, put your hand up and go, I'm struggling a bit. I've got all this to do. And people do help. So, yeah.
Brilliant, thank you. Okay, so I'm going to just come to some of the questions now. And then comments. So, a really useful comment from Emma about how you adjusted to being stuck in a career and now the air traffic control company you work in. So, welcome to you. I've got a question in around, what advice would you give somebody trying to grow their career in finance within the aviation industry specifically?
Yeah, so I mean, there are some great careers in aviation, in finance as well. I mean, air travel has rebounded really well after COVID. Passenger numbers are up, not just in my airport, our airport, but across the board. So there is a lot of room to grow. I would say just do your research, read up about whatever airport it is you're going to be working at. Every airport's got a lot of plans. Sometimes you have to go hunting for them a little bit, but just read up on those. If you're going for an interview, try and be really knowledgeable about what that airport is trying to achieve. Sustainability is a big thing, so definitely have a look at that, read up on that. And a common mistake people tend to make when they're interviewing for in somewhere in aviation is, why do you want to come work here? Well, I love to travel. Well, that's nice, but it's not really a good reason to come and work at an airport. We don't get money off flights or anything. So I just prepare very well, do your research, and just engage with whoever's there. In my team, it's all about teamwork. I'm not looking necessarily for someone who's top of their class in every single exam. I'm just looking for, can you work as a team, and are you going to add value to my team?
Yeah, no, there, that's really encouraging. And we've got some great networking going on in the chat with people who are finding out they're in similar industries or even organizations. So good advice
Excellent.
there. Thank you. Okay, got a couple of other questions I'd like to move to. So somebody has asked, what were a little bit more about the steps. So you mentioned in the introduction the different roles that you've had. Were they sort of incremental, or was there one particularly big jump that you think kind of rocket boosted your career?
Oh, that's an interesting one. I would say that the my second industry role, where I was working for the tech company and I got promoted from finance analyst to financial controller, that was quite a big jump. There was I knew that it would be a challenging role because the plans of the business were pretty vast. They were quite there's quite a lot on, but having that interest in the business, having that passion and that drive, I was like, yeah, I can do this. I knew that I could. I believed in myself, and I think that's something that's sort of been true throughout my career. Having that drive and that determination to achieve what I want to achieve. When I started out, I didn't go to university. I finished my A-levels and I worked in a shop for quite a few years. So it was only after a certain number of years I was like, well, I fancy going into finance. I quite enjoy numbers, quite enjoy people. So I just started doing my AAT, but it's having that determination to kind of achieve your goals and basically get to where you want to be.
Yeah, brilliant. Thank you. I've got a question about the differences between industry and practice. And you spoke about timesheets and the joy of not doing those. But other than that, what are the biggest differences you find between the two?
So it depends on the individual, really. Some people really like being in practice because you can go out and you can see a different client every other week. You go into different industries. I remember when I was in audit, one day we'd be at a charity, the next would be at a private school, then we'd be at a manufacturing company. So different people, different industries. It was always something different going on. That was quite good. Industry, you are doing the same thing, depending what kind of role you're in. You've always got like a month end coming and etc. etc. So, but it is what you make of it. So, in my team, we've got lots of little projects going on, lots of ways to try and improve things to kind of make a difference. So, that I say is the biggest difference in that. In practice days, you're seeing a whole variety of different people, different industries, and it's good fun. I had some great times when I was an auditor. You spend a couple of weeks up in Manchester on a nice little away job. Really good bonding with your team. But then, going into industry, I think it's kind of just as fun, just as exciting, but it can be a little bit more routine based and a little bit more settled, shall we say. So.
Yeah. Okay. And thinking about the kind of moves then, so that we've spoken about the difference between practice and industry. We've spoken about the kind of big leap in your career and what that did. You kind of touched on that being quite a leap, and somebody's asked a related question that it's daunting. It's daunting to go from a perceived junior role up that gear shift and working to becoming an FC. So any tips that you can share on confidence?
Absolutely, yeah. I wasn't a very confident person. I was quite introvert almost, and I've worked hard to try and get myself out there a little bit, and it's just something you have to do. Is just push yourself to get out more and more and more. And there's a great book by Susan Jeffers called Feel the Fear and Do It Anyway. It's a really good one. I'd recommend that to anyone online. And it's all about what's the worst that could happen. Like, putting yourself out there. no one's going to kill you. What could happen? Someone could say no. Well, so what? It's not the worst thing. So have that confidence in yourself, push yourself, try and get yourself out of that comfort zone a little bit, and you'll be amazed what you can achieve.
Oh, I love that. I love that book too, and I listened to the podcast, so really recommend feel free and do it.
Yeah,
anyway.
Absolutely.
Nice on your shelf.
I've actually got it right here. So yeah.
Brilliant. So you've kind of incorporated their kind of communication, confidence, and lots of skills, which I think when you go through your apprenticeship, everyone, that's the purpose of the apprenticeship, is that you're starting on a developmental journey, and you shouldn't expect perfection, and it's just learning as we go. A question, Pete, around the sector, and we've had somebody comment who's at Norwich Airport. I didn't realise how many apprentices we had in the airline industry, so that's been fascinating. But somebody also in the transport sector, and they've said they've never had any experience in practice. You've touched on this a little bit, but perhaps a bit more on how you're working in an industry in a sector which you love, and how that helps encourage you to have passion for the job. Something on that.
Yeah, absolutely. We said having an interest in what you are doing is important. And I've got people who work for me that have got a whole variety of different backgrounds. So I've got people who have done the standard university 3 years at a Big Four audit firm and then joined. But I've got people who didn't go to university. They're doing their AAT, for example. They've never worked in practice before, but they really like the industry. And it's not just the industry, it's the actual company and how that treats people. Culture is very important. We've got a great culture here at the airport. We always put people first. Our colleagues are really important to us, so that's very important, and it kind of makes it so it doesn't matter what your history is, what your background is. We will look after you, and as long as you have that drive to succeed and you're willing to get on board with the team, then you can go anywhere.
Brilliant. Just in general, do you have to deal with any sort of major challenges, like what's been happening in roads recently and Crete, and things that people have had flights going into East Midlands? Do you find you're involved in kind of crisis management as well?
It's something that we've been discussing lately. Actually, is we've come up with a operational response team at the airport. Basically, if something has gone on, I don't know if anyone remembers, but last year when we had all of that blazing sunshine, a small patch of our runway got damaged, and we had to close some of the runway for a bit. We've doing a lot more around planning for an event like that. So we've come up with this response team where it's basically saying, well, I'm sitting here in finance. That's not necessarily helpful to the guys actually in the terminal. It's not helpful to our passengers if I'm just at head office. So we're coming up with plans to get people basically out of head office to actually go on the ground and help people, whether it be to hand out bottles of water, provide information where necessary, and just give our guest experience guys a bit of a hand and a bit of a help, because it's invoices can wait, accounts can wait. If there is something going on that needs attention, everyone should be helping out.
I love that. You're really putting your customers first, aren't you?
Absolutely, because that's what it's all about. I mean, people have a great choice in the UK about where they can fly from, and we want to make it so people do come to Luton. I think historically Luton's had a bit of a reputation of it's a bit of a low cost low cost run operation, not just low cost airlines, and that's something that we're trying to change. We've invested a lot of money in the terminal to try and improve our guest experience, and yeah, it's starting to pay dividends. We've got some of the shortest queuing times through security, so yeah, next time you fly, yeah, come through us. Yeah.
Thank you. Well, Pete, massive thanks for that. A really exciting career insights. I think that's one of my, brilliant. It's a brilliant story that you've told us. Really captivating. And next time I'm traveling, it might be the FC who's there helping me through security.
Well,
Hadn't thought about that one, but that's great to know.
well, yeah. So you'll be surprised. You might
Yeah.
see from the CEO all the way down. Yeah, everyone does pitch in and help out. So yeah, and it's great. I've just seen some LinkedIn requests come through already on my
Oh, well done,
phone.
everyone.
So yeah, people are reaching out, which is great. So
Brilliant. Well, thank you so much for joining us, Pete, and for sharing your career insights. And everybody on Monday afternoon, thank you for being with us too. I've put the link in the chat to the feedback form. Please do it, because then it helps us shape sessions that we run in the future. So we'd really love to hear your views. Wishing everybody a very good rest of the day, wonderful summer holidays, and safe flying from wherever you are, but particularly Luton Airport. And thanks again, Pete, for your time.
yeah, thank you guys for listening.
Thanks all. Bye
Thank
bye.
you. Bye.
I'll stop the recording now.